Please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
Steel made its entry into the Nifty today, and I caught up with the CMD of the JSW Group, Mr. Sachin Jindal, who spoke about the company's expansion plans, possible listing of the international business once it scales up at an appropriate time, and also keeping the debt levels under control.
JSW has probably one of the strongest balance sheet in the steel industry globally, and so therefore we are really thinking of taking this to the next level. And we have already announced plans to take our capacities to 25 million tons without the inorganic growth, and with inorganic growth hopefully to 30 million tons. And then our vision plan is that by 2025 we want to be a 40 million ton steel company out of India, and plus probably 8 or 10 million tons we will have overseas.
And 10 million overseas. All right, so JSW Steel is on the prowl for sure. We have seen that in the past year or so. Not been very successful actually in a couple of acquisitions, but at least you got Monat Ispat out there. Tell us, how aggressive is JSW Steel going to be in terms of Bhushan Power and Steel? Is that an asset you want?
So we've been very, I would say, realistic in our acquisition strategy. We have never looked at that it's a must-buy kind of thing, because we don't feel that there is anything which is a must-buy. We don't want to regret at a later date that we overpaid and today we are suffering because we took a decision in few years ago. We had taken a decision in 2008 and acquired a plate mill in the US, and we regret it even today.
Is there a possibility of keeping the JSW Steel global dreams separate and the Indian story separate, or you want to keep it together under the consolidated name JSW Steel?
I mean, no, JSW Steel will be the main holding body, and we could see that we list the overseas companies separately, and merge them and list them separately. But this is a long story. I mean, this can't happen overnight. We have just acquired a couple of assets, one in US and one in Europe, and we have to build on them and we have to create capacities there. And once that happens, then we may list that separately in New York or in London, wherever, and that would be still held by JSW Steel.
At what stage would you look at listing that entity? Would it be once you hit 5 million tons? Would it be 8 million tons, 10 million tons? Do you have any kind of...
Yeah, 10 million tons. That's a minimum size. Then only we feel it's worthwhile to take it there.
The street, Mr. Jindal, has been waiting whether or not JSW Steel, being such a big outperformer, is it going to come ahead and tap the equity markets, or is JFE going to come and take a larger part of the listed company JSW Steel? Is a QIP in the works?
So no, so there is no plan for any equity raise as of today, because as I said, we have enough cash generation to handle our capital expenditure program. And also JFE, we have not made any plans to to give more equity to JFE. I think JFE is very comfortable at 15%, and we are also very comfortable with JFE holding 15%.
The promoter group is clearly very bullish on the stock. I was just looking at the Bombay Stock Exchange and the disclosures out there, and in fact the promoters have bought a couple of lakh shares even though the stock is at a lifetime high. What's the targeted shareholding out there?
There is no real target, but we whatever surpluses the promoter group gets in their annual account, we tend to, rather than investing outside the group, we believe that the best investment is in your own self. We don't have any target. At 42% we are very comfortable. But if we were 51, we would be better off. But I don't think the numbers really matter to me.
Any targeted number in terms of debt, the net debt to EBITDA?
So we have sort of announced that 3.75 would be the debt to EBITDA, and 1.75 would be the debt to equity. These are the ballpark numbers, or let's say the Lakshman Rekha that we have kept, that we will never breach these numbers, because I remember at one time we had even breached 5 times debt to EBITDA. and it 2002 and 3 and stuff like that, and now we have made it 3.75, and gradually we are going to reduce that.
What's going on with regard to Essar Steel? JSW Steel is part of the consortium. What kind of a stake do you all have in that consortium? How keen are you all in terms of the Essar Steel asset?
Well, Essar Steel is a good asset. It's an attractive asset. It needs a lot of improvement. We believe that we can do a great deal of justice with that asset. But I really don't know how it is going to play out, because also it is sub judice, so I can't talk too much about it, and I would rather keep it to this level. That it's a good asset and we can do good justice with that asset.
And in the consortium, any kind of number in terms of a stake that you'll have in the consortium that is trying to bid for the asset?
I think we have 25 or 26% stake in the consortium.
Not such a great day when you look at the metals as a sector. We have seen a decline come in for Shanghai. Steel and iron ore prices have seen a decline by 3%. This actually is the worst week when you look at copper prices, also down by nearly 2.5%. This is the worst week really in 6 weeks that we see copper prices ending down with. And there is that pressure that has continued in case of aluminum prices. There have been 18 wage negotiations in 2018, but almost no serious issues anywhere is what really has led to many of those metal prices come off. The strength in US dollar trading at a 9-month highs versus the Japanese yen also has been weighing on many of these dollar-denominated commodities. Add to that the fact that the fourth quarter of the calendar year always is a weak demand period. So as we get into the month of October, there is some sentiment weakness that we already are seeing in case of the metal prices. The other important event, of course, is the US and China trade war concerns that has been weighing on some of those commodities. And then China today coming out and saying that they are not going to put a blanket output cut directive to the provinces. Almost 26 to 28 provinces in northern area will have their own call, own take on how much of a cut in the industrial metals do they want to do. Also seems to be easing some of those supply concerns. So clearly on your screens, we've seen decline come in for all of those metals in the day today. Joining us then is Himanshu Gupta with his strategies on that space as well. Himanshu, hi. While the Shanghai metals have seen a bit of a decline, LME seems to be trading, slightly in the green, and that is perhaps where the Indian metal prices are taking cues from. What is your sense going forward in the sector?
Hi, Manisha. Thank you, and good afternoon. Well, clearly we have seen some strong short covering rallies coming in, initially copper, and then this week we have seen a strong gain coming in zinc. But given the fact that there are some fresh concerns hitting the market, and the next week there will be the Chinese markets entering into the golden week, so clearly the demand is likely to remain on the softer side, and the prices are expected to remain checked. But having said, there is a broader consolidation that we think the metals prices are likely to head into, given the fact that we have already seen a strong beating amidst all trade war fears, which are expected to put a pressure on the demand side. So for the day, I think lead is looking strong, and one can initiate long position after a strong consolidation staying in the counter. One can expect targets of 149 to 150 in today's session, and the stop loss below 145 can be seen.
Himanshu, how are you also looking at the precious metal space? Because the US Fed meeting is come and gone, and the prices have reacted to that. We're trading at a 6-week lows for the gold prices. Any opportunity to buy here, or you think the prices will continue to languish below 1200?
I think there is some more pessimism lined up in gold prices. Clearly, gold has been a victim of stronger dollar, strong assessment by the Fed of their economy, and higher interest rates. So I think in the immediate short term, $1170, $1165 can offer some support. And again, we can see a pullback in the prices towards $1190 to $1200. But given all these fundamentals, which are not actually very supportive for the gold prices, I think eventually by the year end, we are headed towards $1120.
Okay, all right. Thanks so much for that, Manisha, as well as Himanshu. Let's get back to the equity markets. And I think GSPL, we should actually pull up the intraday chart on that stock. I don't know what's gone wrong, actually. The stock was holding well. Earlier this morning, I think they had the management that told us that things were looking good because of that price increase that they were getting. But suddenly from the highs of the day, the stock has crashed, actually. It's corrected nearly around more than 10%.
Mildly in the red for the Nifty, but yes, for sure, the Nifty has seen quite a dip in the last 1 hour. It was hovering around levels of 11,030 thereabout, and now we've come down to 11,970. So it's seen a fall of about 50-60 points from the top of the day. GSPL, which saw a very sharp knock just 5 minutes ago, it was down nearly about 7% has recouped some of its losses. So now it's getting a bit choppy for GSPL, so keep your eye on that particular name. Apart from that, in in the frontline pack, it's Bharti Airtel, which has taken a big hit in the last 1 hour. So Airtel is down close to about 5% But a very important briefing by the Finance Ministry on, on the GST briefing by the Finance Ministry will be underway in moments from now. So